the bow, the hammer, those are always nice items. Anything but bombs or the Keen of Burna, but I'm gonna have to say, if I have to pick one, it's going to be the bow. How about you?
I generally like to see one of the canes, either Samaria or Burna, because they have some very interesting strats.
Well, Burna, oh man, Burna just makes bomb farming such a pain. Keen of Samaria, that's at least going to be most likely required progression, and that tends to be the reason why I like the bow. It's always required progression. It can be anywhere but 8 locations in the game, only 4 of which are before Ganon's Tower. Really good item to get out of the way early. Let's see what they get.
All right. Oh, we're gonna get a bomb escape. Well, now we're gonna get to see some solid execution. You know, this requires the most out of probably almost anything. Oh, and a lamp in Uncle's chest. That's a nice find early.
Yeah, early lamp is particularly valuable. At this point, everyone is going to be comfortable with dark rooms, but getting the lamp means you're not going to have to do them. More importantly, though, even if you can do all the dark rooms, now you have a fire source, and that opens up a lot of locations.
Yeah, very much. And it's also always nice, you know, Eastern Palace being part of the Spear 1 progression, that it has that vanilla big key chest in logic when you have that early lamp. So that could play in part in how they route this. Nice bomb drop on Gloin's side. That's pretty funny. They don't need more bombs, unfortunately.
Yeah, you always get the bombs when you don't need them. Nice execution from Dedon there, and Gloin also pulling off the kill, needing 2 extra bombs there, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think was trying to get the guard caught on the bottom part of that statue, but unfortunately got caught on the right-hand side instead. So because of that, daotmb takes a little bit of a lead right there after the first guard room, but nothing too crazy so far. And getting a big 20 drop off of both of them, getting it off the guard is nice for some Kakariko money.
Well, in a perfect world, you'll be able to complete the escape sequence with 4 bombs, which will get you through Kakariko. Gloin, having unfortunately lost an extra 2 there, is going to be a little disadvantaged. Fortunately, these guys are dropping bombs, so able to recover at least a little bit.
Nice job by Gloin right there in that room, making up a little bit of time. They'll be using the pots here in the ball and chain guard room, probably to also kill the green guard, maybe to get another lucky bomb drop.
Yeah, the 2 blue guards holding keys, the green guard locking the doors, and the key rat. Those are your 6 minimum bombs you need to do. Hopefully that key rat won't troll you too hard and make you lose an extra bomb.
Yeah, definitely. And daotmb is, on top of using less bombs, got another bomb drop as well. So he's set for not just Kakariko, but also the South Shore and Ice Rod Cave. And that's great. So you don't have to worry about buying any bombs in the early game. You can use it to wait until you get Dark World access.
Yeah, they both have enough money. If they get to Kakariko and they're out of bombs, they can buy more. So, at least having that margin of safety is nice. Not to mention, we still have 4 chests with items, the bush crab, the tree pools, lots of places we might get bombs.
Yep, and so far, nothing else other than the lamp at this point, with that 10 arrow drop, the key, and the 50 rupees that they got in Zelda's cell. So let's see if the back of escape provides any more, early game answers for the runners, or we're just gonna have a really dry escape.
Well, Trojan Dude, I was giving chat a little bit of an opportunity to fill in here and begin the trolling, but since they've been reluctant to do so, I guess I'll have to kick it off. Lamp, first chest, one of the 3 items we need for Aga's tower access. How do you feel about getting that so early?
Dude, we don't even have a sword or a cape yet, man. How badly do you want to see an Aghanim scene?
Well, we're 1/3 of the way to Aga, but we have 0 of the items we need to skip Aga. So based solely on what we have, it's looking very very like an Aga seed.
Are you trying to do like pull some simple math on me right now?
Well, I don't call fraction simple, but it is evened out by getting the glove right there. So there's one
there we go.
non-Aga.
Yeah, getting that glove right there is nice. Actually, that puts first couple things in Death Mountain into logic. So that's very interesting. I'm wondering if right out of the gate in Sanctuary, either one of them will go that way.
That would be interesting. You can check your tree pool, your bush crab, lumberjack if that's your type of thing. And maybe head up directly to Death Mountain. Even if you're only able to get the Old Man item and Spectacle Rock Cave, you're at least unlocking a save continue point. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely. Some nice kamikaze strats going on. Oh, daotm is burning a bomb for the top. That's a really interesting choice. Unsure what made him do that. Usually you want to save the bombs if you can, but that was a little bit faster to do that.
Yeah, you do save a few seconds not having to walk down. He was able to, conserve his bombs a little bit better than Gloin was. So with 5, and knowing he really just needs 3 to get to the bottom of Kakariko, gonna buy bombs anyway in order to do, Mini Moldorm, all the other spots. Probably felt like it wasn't that bad a deal.
Yeah, I definitely see the logic behind that. And daotm is the first out of the Sanctuary and is heading over here, is going to head up towards the Lumberjack area. Let's see if he does that divergence up to Death Mountain really quick, just to get that save point for later.
That would definitely be a very aggressive play to do it that early.
Seeing him go for this makes me think he might do that, because normally you'd want the bush crab at the top. Oh no, he still is heading up to Lumberjack Cave. Interesting. But usually you want to check this bush crab.
Yeah, it's if you get bombs or ideally red rupees, and it gives you 3 bush crabs you can farm from, but just blue rupees on this one and hearts from the tier 2 tree pool prize. So no value there.
Did you just see what was on that ledge? That's a 2D flutie.
Like that's the flute. Yeah, that locks the duck. So that might be required.
Yeah, of course, we won't know that right now. We still need to get into the Dark World at some point in order to see the map, to see if Misery Mire is a required one. We do get silvers, though, in the mushroom spot. So that's a nice power spike for the early game.
Very nice. And, let's talk about that flute for a second. So we know that it's going to be absolutely required if Misery Mire is a crystal. We need the flute in order to get into Misery Mire. Now, if Mire is not a crystal, the flute may be an optional item. So let me ask you this. Would you, considering all the time that the flute saves you, would you consider doing an Aga play just to pick it up for the time savings if we get early boots?
That's a really good question. Honestly, I think the only time you would decide to do that is if you got a really early temperate sword, or if you got the fire rod, because those 2 items make Aga Tower a heck of a lot faster, and I think that would make it possibly worth at that point, but that is a really large time investment for one item.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to depend on how early you get the boots. If you can take advantage of the flute for the entire game, those 5 minutes might pay for themselves. It would be an interesting decision to see if either player makes that choice. Getting the flippers there, we could say goodbye to any fake flippering, because now all the water areas are in logic.
Yeah, and that's nice to get while you're in Kakariko, because most people will do South Shore, and they'll generally finish at Ice Rod Cave, but instead they'll, especially if they get the money, they'll go all the way over to Waterfall Wishing and at least check the Zora ledge, even if they can't get the Zora item. So it does open up 4 extra items on that route with the hobos. So it is very nice to get that early.
There's the cane you wanted in the well.
Yeah, man, Cane of Burden is awesome. Oh, we got both canes in the well. All right.
Well, Kane, and the Moon Pearl. So that's two of our three items required to skip Aga. We just need Mitts or another, or the hammer. I'm sorry, another Mitts upgrade or the hammer in order to skip Aga, which is not what you want to see when there's a valuable item on that ledge. You kind of want to be forced for you and your opponent to do Aga at that point.
You know, I wonder if after they're done with race game, you take now you actually do that Death Mountain gamble right now to see if you get hammer up there, because then you might be able to do a quick hype cave before you go to the South Shore. It'd be kind of a weird route, but I think this is one of those situations where it might be worth it at this point.
That would be interesting. Hammer and mirror, or even hook shot up there that would unlock East Death Mountain. That could be a lot of potential. What interests me is, you're saying that they might end over at Ice Rod Cave, but knowing where the flute is might make you a little bit more likely to put off Aegina's Cave or Ice Rod Cave or some of these one-off locations until later on, if you anticipate having to pick up that flute anyway.
Yeah, that's actually very true. And those decisions of skipping over Sphere 1 locations is always, a big deal, especially when you get to these top tier runners who make those decisions just at the same time. And we'll have to see how that affects the landscape of the race going forward.
Well, we had a really interesting thing over here on Datum's side. Did not buy any more bombs in Kakariko, so unless he's heading to the bomb shop right now, he could find himself using his last bomb on Mini Moldrum Cave, and that would be unfortunate. You don't want to run out of bombs this early in the game. Looks like he is remembering.
I think I know what he's doing. So he's going to get these bombs right here, and he's going to do the flippers checks, I believe. Oh, nope, he's going to head back up, actually. This looks like, oh, where are you going?
I would have called Hobo there, but he's not doing it.
Yeah, that's not a play you generally see. Normally, you'd want to jump off the ledge right there for a little more efficiency, but is heading over towards the dam area right now. They're actually almost in sync at the moment.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that this was his intended route, and he didn't realize until after he had left Kakariko that he forgot to buy the bombs.
That is a possibility, yes.
So what are we looking for here? We're looking for the mirror and hammer. That would open up Dark World. That would open up Death Mountain. Or the hook shot would also open up East Death Mountain. Those are the really nice finds. Other than that, bow would be nice for Eastern. Book would be nice for Desert. We still haven't seen a map check from either player, so we don't know where they want to go.
Yeah, no map check, which is, it's somewhat surprising. Some people will literally wait until they head towards the direction of a dungeon before they check. Because South Shore you're never going to go near there, and it's not going to affect your routing. But I'd say actually right now, Hookshot is probably one of the nicer things to get at the moment. Opens up all of East Death Mountain with one item, and it's a good mobility item in case they get early Dark Hole access. Nice 8 bomb drop from Gloin right there.
Yeah, they both got the 8 bombs. Only Gloin picked it up though. Getting Ice Rod in the Mini Moldrum Cave here, one very, very potential troll item crossed off the list.
Yeah, and that's going to be really nice if TR is a crystal in the seed. But that Ice Rod can be one of the worst items for this logic. And we do have a slight divergence. Looks like Gloin is heading up to check the island item first.
Yeah, so just a red rupee on the island, and he's also heading over to Ice Rod Cave. It's without the flute, you really don't have any other good time to get over here, so it makes sense to knock it out of the way.
All right, well, let's see where this one-off location, what it provides us today. And, oh, there we are, this shot.
That is incredible value. That's right there significantly increases the likelihood of heading up to Death Mountain. With only 97 rupees and 102 rupees, you're not able to do Zora. I wonder if Datum is heading to Waterfall Ferry, Hobo. Where's he going to choose to save and quit from?
It's very possible you could save from Hobo right here, since you do have a very large density of items in Death Mountain right now. You don't have to quite go towards the Zora area, but you know, if you're already doing the flippers checks, you might as well full invest. And as opposed to what we would have thought, we've got Gloin giving us a map check. We've got a red pen in a desert and 2 crystals at Eastern and Tower of Hera, and we've got him heading over in the Sarsaparilla's hut area.
They don't yet have the ability to full clear any of those dungeons. They can't get into desert without the book, or later on the mitts, flute, and mirror. Hera they can't get to without the hammer or the mirror, and they can get into Eastern, but they can't clear it without the bow. So nothing's screaming go here right away.
Yeah, and we saw Daotum just go to Hobo, save and quit from right there. Not going to invest in the waterfall check quite yet, but it's going to go straight up there, and Gloin's going to follow right after checking the 3 items in there. The best thing we got out of there was a heart container.
Yeah, I agree with that play. Hobo is a really nice place to save and quit from rather than swim all the way back. With both of them heading up to Death Mountain, they'll be able to do the old man rescue here. That's 1 item without a sequence break. They can do Spectacle Rock Cave. They can't get the item on top, but it's really nice to just hook shot over to East Death Mountain. There's 8 items over there, a knowledge of a 9th, and if that opens up the hammer or the mirror, then they can continue on into Tower of Hera, which they can't clear yet, but they can get in there.
Yeah, they don't have a sword or a hammer, so can't clear that all. They could actually, if they do get Dark World access though, with like say a mid upgrade, they actually can technically clear. They can clear Thieves Town because Cane of Burna does damage, and so does the Cane of Samaria.
Well, Mitts would be very nice. That would open up 6 additional items here on Dark Death Mountain, since they already have the hook shot. And you got to think, with all of these items, they're going to find mirror or the boots or the hammer, something that's going to give them some progression.
Yeah, definitely. As nothing in the Spectacle Rock Cave, just a piece of heart. And we're going to be heading straight on over here. And we've got 5 items, plus the 2 on the bottom part of Paradox Cave. We can check what the floating island is, and we've got Spiral Cave as well, except we don't have the boots, so our runners are going to have to endure the walk of shame.
So I'm thinking about this. I think the best thing that could happen for these runners would probably be for both the hammer and the mitts to be in the Dark World. If they're both required to do Aga's Tower to progress, then neither of them is making a gamble.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. And that means that if the seed does push him that way, it means that it's more and more likely that flute will come into play at some point. All right, we just got some rupees so far. We got a lot of love. Oh, there are those Titans mitts, and that is another 50 rupees. So that they can actually check the whole part of the east side of Dark Death Mountain right now.
There goes my dream. We could still have Hammer locked behind the Pyramid Fairy, but the dream is starting to die. Gonna have to wait till we see that Dark World map check. And that is a great place for the mitts to show up, though, because they can now do Dark Death Mountain and unlock 6 additional items.
Yep, definitely. And they can check what that medallion for Turtle Rock is as well. So that's quite nice. Unfortunately, Gloin... Gloin is not going to do Spiral Cave. Very interesting decision from Gloin's side. And is going to head into Super Bunny Cave now. So that'll be interesting to see. Let's see what's in Spiral Cave, and if this is anything of reason. Just big 20. So, all right, not a bad choice for gloin right now.
Yeah, Dotem's route there is probably more optimal. Climbing the tower, climbing or falling, depending on how you want to look at it, in Paradox Cave, coming down in Spiral, coming back up in Dark Death Mountain. That's the least backtracking. They're rewarded with half magic, which is pretty nice to have. Earlier in the game, you can take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's really nice before you've ever cleared out Skullwoods or Thieves Town, specifically, because what you're generally rocking lower hearts when you go there. So if you can use, like, say, Cane of Burden more often, or you use the Fire Rod more often, then that's always really nice. We got gloin going into Hookshot Cave right now. Let's see what he gets. Oh, there's our first sword. That's quite nice.
Yeah, that's significant. That's gonna unlock the Aga Curtain, the Mothula Curtain, let them utilize medallions, not to mention, of course, being a weapon that consumes neither ammo or magic. That does let them damage Moldorm now, so if they can get to Hera, they can clear Hera. I like your suggestion to do Thieves Town, though. It's a nice early dungeon, and with Kakariko being their only Dark World portal, it's right there.
Yeah, no, interesting. Neither of them have actually checked their map for what's a Pendant and Crystal in the Dark World right now. We do see Quake. It is a vanilla medallion for Turtle Rock this seed. So we're going to possibly be looking for that. Once we do get that map check, I'm sure we'll get it like right after gloin gets into the Dark World right here.
Most likely. It is a little bit counterintuitive to do that map check when you're doing Dark Death Mountain. It doesn't quite feel like you're in the Dark World yet until you get into one of these other locations and you're actually planning on picking a dungeon.
Okay, we do get our map check right here. We've got a green pendant Thieves Town, a blue pendant Swamp, and we got Ice and Pod as our 5-6 crystals. So unfortunately, Hammer will not be in the pyramid.
No, but Hammer is required because Misery Mire is a crystal, so this is absolutely a required seed, so it doesn't matter if the Hammer's in the pyramid anymore.
Yeah, and you know what that means? That means Aga is officially required, but we just got to find those boots first.
Well, it might pay off, if you know that you have to do Aga, it might pay off to do it a little bit sooner rather than later. Do the Thieves Town stuff. It's a green pendant, but you got to do it anyway. That's how Thieves Town works. You don't want Kakariko to be your only entrance into the Dark World, though. So getting that other Dark World entrance is pretty valuable.
Yeah, and another thing, as far as like you were talking about clearing Pendant Thieves Town, there's been a big meta game kind of evolving as this tournament gone on with whether to full clear a Pendant Thieves Town or just the front four, because those are a lot faster. So let's see if either of these runners opt to do that, as daotmb is actually heading straight into Thieves Town, as gloin is gonna not do that, and this is looking like a dig game check.
Yeah, this is a little bit surprising. Even if you're not going to full clear it, I think he's probably committed to just doing the first four. There's so many locations available to him. The Southern Route, Hype Cave. You don't want to go into Thieves Town without the Hammer and risk leaving an item orphaned in the big chest.
Yep, and we've got gloin shoveling away right now at the dig game, and is going through quite a few digs at the moment.
Yeah, 22 digs so far and still going, between 1 and 30.
Oh my goodness, that is a hammer, and that is something that daotmb is not going to have for Thieves Town on this first dip.
Oh, that is absolutely an amazing find. A dirty hammer. daotmb is continuing into the back of Thieves Town, so if there is an item in the big chest, he's not going to be able to pick it up, and gloin will be able to get that when he heads up there, opting not to do it though. He's doing the Southern Route.
Yeah, no, gloin, I wonder if this is going to end in him going to Pod, or well, I guess he can't because he took the frog, but it looks like he's just banking on the overworld having more of the answers. It did work out in this case with the hammer. He does get the other simple blue boomerang right there from Old Stumpy, and is going to continue on to Hype Cave right now.
This can be a problematic route. If you don't have the mirror, you're orphaning Cave 45. Gloin walks right past it, can't get to it. It's the cave south of Haunted Grove. But there are 5 items here in Hype Cave. If he finds the bow here, he might just continue directly onto Palace of Darkness, because Kiki will eat that frog, and he'll be able to get into the dungeon.
Yeah, that would definitely be a very interesting decision. So we've got Daotim getting the attic chest, and it's just 50 rupees. So far, nothing major. We got a couple pieces of heart. We got 300 rupees and a 5 arrow capacity upgrade, and nada limonada.
Well, they did need the money, so I will give that a 1 out of 10 hype, but otherwise it's a 0 out of 10.
It becomes more hype if Zora has an item.
Yeah, what would that be, like a delayed hype? We'll bump it up to a 3 maybe.
Yeah, it'd be like it's like the counter on like it starts at 1 when you're trying to count to 3, but you wait for it for about another 30 minutes, and then it finally does the 2 and the 3.
That makes sense. We do have. I gotta see what Datum's map. Oh, mirror in the Thieves' Town on the Maiden Chest. Wow.
That is a huge find. Not for progression per se, because Swamp Palace is just a pennant in this seed, but that is going to make Daotum's mobility a lot better.
Yeah, we just saw Gloin turn the blacksmith in at the completion of his world tour. Datum's going to be able to mirror and immediately turn him in, take the purple chest on the world tour instead, and check Cave 45 on the way. The question is he leaving an item behind in the big chest?
Yeah, we'll find out here in a second. I believe it's down to a complete 50-50.
Nice blind execution. 2 hearts and green mail. Got to be careful, but he pulls it off.
Yeah, he did a very... Oh, that is the last Master Sword off of... So, Pendant, Green Pendant Thieves' Town providing quite a few answers to the seed so far.
There's only a minor gamble going in there. 4 items plus the green pendant, so an additional 5th item. Paid off extremely well. Gloin going in there with the hammer has no gamble. They're both coming out of here very nice off.
Yep, definitely couldn't agree more. And we've got Daotum kind of doing the stuff that Gloin has already done, and is going to head down to the dig game, get his hammer as well. So, at this point, let's see what we have opened up. We do have Tower of Hera completable now with that hammer. We haven't seen what's inside of Eastern Palace yet, and nor Skullwoods, and Ice Palace is not an option yet because we do not have the Fire Rod or Bombos.
Yeah, here's the only dungeon that we can actually full clear. We can't even get into... we could full clear Pendant Swamp Palace if we wanted to, and we could get the flute, and we could do Pendant Desert Palace, assuming it's not boots locked. That wouldn't matter because we would need the boots to get the flute by that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a good point you bring up about Swamp Palace. That would actually be a decent-sized gamble. Not too bad because it is full completable compared to only Tower of Hera completable, but definitely could weigh on the minds of these runners like, oh, I've got literally the Swamp Palace package really early. I wonder if it's going to have any progression in there. And Daotum already knows a Pendant Dungeon had progression. You might think, oh, maybe Pendant Dungeons will have more progression.
The one nice thing about Swamp is that it's full clearable at this point, so if they do go in, they can at a minimum get all 6 items. If they find the items early, then maybe they'll skip Argus. They probably won't if they're that deep into it, though. I can't think of any other place that has 6 items in one spot that's open at the moment.
But that's a nice tempered sword right there on daotem's side, and so they're kind of set for the rest of the seed. Like once they have bow, they already have silver arrows. Like they're set for Ganon Tower later.
Yeah, that Thieves Town play really making some efficient routing for daotem here. Gloin's going to be able to do that K45 check on his first pass and kind of even out the inconsistencies a little bit. They probably both will come out of this having had one advantage and one disadvantage.
Yeah, very true. And we've got daotem taking the purple chest down with him. And this is going to be a north route play. It looks. Oh no, just yeah, you can't unfortunately take the purple chest in the sea house.
Yeah, just cleaning out some of these overworld locations. The mirror does open up the graveyard ledge, so checking the front of Skullwoods wouldn't be a bad idea. You can actually check the front of Skullwoods with the purple chest. I've done it, and it's pretty funny. And then just go on to graveyard ledge if you really wanted to. But he's doing K45.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yep, and there's gloin showing us that compass was indeed in the big chest, and we'll be getting a Master Sword shortly.
Yeah.
Oh, we got some more Zora money over in the cave south of Grove.
Well, daotem not having been to Hype Cave, so that's his first big 300 there, and he'll pick up another horde in Hype Cave, and then basically be done with money for this game.
Yep. All right. He's so far good on the scripts, and very nice first 2 phases from Gloin's side. Let's see how his last phase goes. Oh, very just super clean fight, taking no damage. That's textbook right there from Gloin.
Yeah, hopefully for him, he'll do the Smith's Chain and pick up his Temper Sword as well. That's going to make the rest of the game much easier to complete. Unfortunately, no book, so we're not able to check the Bombos tablet at the moment. That's going to be at the back of their minds if they get the book pretty soon. But daotem, not saving and quitting. Maybe this is Swamp Palace.
Yeah, this very well might be. Yep, it's going to be a Swamp Palace play. And getting that blue mail right before is going to be really nice with Boots of Swamp Palace. It's going to make everything do a much more reasonable amount of damage in here. We do get Divergence, though, as Gloin is heading over into Skullwoods right now.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Gloin, he did Thieves Town and he did the Smith, but he didn't do Hammer Peg, so he's still short a sword.
Yeah, because he already did that blacksmith without a without the mirror, is definitely less incentivized to go back over that direction. There's one of our items right there. Just another fairy in the bottle, the second one of the seed. That's 3 of our bottles, and so let's see what the back of Skullwoods is.
Well, without the Fire Rod, we're not able to get the Mothula or check the last chest. So this will be it for Skullwoods chests.
Yep, indeed.
Given his positioning, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he does K45 after this, and sorry, not K45, Graveyard Ledge. I always make that mistake. And maybe even continues on the Catfish, which is pretty easy to route in after Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, and hasn't done the Sora area yet, and can actually mirror after Catfish to go over there. This is one of those weird instances that routing is very dense actually at this point. So definitely could see him continuing to prioritize that Overworld.
Exactly. 5 items over there, including the Catfish, 6 with the ledge, and knowledge of the bumper ledge up here. Can't pick it up yet, no cape, but we'll at least know whether he needs to come back here. And a red rupee means he does not need to come back here.
Yep, we don't really need the cape. We've got that Cane of Burna. The cape would, at this point, would probably only be good for, you know, a possible non-bow Vitreous fight, or maybe on Ganon, a little bit easier, you know, phase 2.
Absolutely agree. If it's not locking something on the bumper ledge, then by all means skip it. We've 2 items so far in Swamp. This would be really nice if it's God Swamp and gives us all 6 items without having to go to the left side.
Yeah, that would definitely be quite nice. Oh, there's our Ice Palace access with Bombos at Graveyard Ledge.
That's interesting. We don't know if that's our only Ice Palace access. We still might pick up the Fire Rod elsewhere. And we don't know if we need Bombos to get in the Misery Mire, so it might not be needed, but very nice to get out of the way. And he's going to Catfish.
Yep, we'll get to see what the big Quakefish has today as we get 2 more items, a Piece of Heart and the Max Boost Arrow capacity upgrade.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a very nice Swamp Palace so far, but we do get a map, so the dream is dead, unfortunately. To answer the question in chat, neither player has yet been into the Tower of Hera. They didn't have the mirror or the hammer on their first trip up there, so they couldn't get there.
Yep, because Hammer was at Dig Game, and they went over to Death Mountain with that early hook shot. So we got daotmb going over to the Argus Fire now with Tempered Sword, should make quick work of it, and as Gloin is going to mirror out after checking what Catfish has, and is going to head over to the waterfall in the Zora area, having that required 500 rupees to get the Zora item.
And it wouldn't be a bad play at all to just swim back out of Zora instead of saving and quitting and taking a portal down to the Catfish. Down to Ice Palace. He can do it now with Bombos. It's doable, you know, with the Master Sword and the hammer. It's definitely a doable fight. It's a red crystal, so a lot of reason to do that over the Pendant Swamp. And Pendant Swamp hasn't paid off.
No, so far nothing. The way that this pays off a lot more is if Pedestal does have an item, but not having that book, we're not going to know what it is for a while.
Yeah, he looks like he's figured he's got enough value out of that dungeon, leaving one or 2 items behind. I missed if there was an item on Argus.
Oh, there's our last sword upgrade at Zora. Oh, that's actually the 2nd seed in a row I've commentated that has Zora's had a sword.
Yeah, no life lesson today. That is absolutely worth 500 rupees. I would even pay 550.
That's going to be, you know, maybe daotmb will eventually get over there and get his butter sword. That would be pretty sweet. And it does look like Gloin is going to make that Ice Palace play right now. Is going to check the Hobo first. But this definitely does point to Ice Palace quite a bit, finding that Bombos, where everything else progression has essentially been in the Overworld.
Yeah, even if both players never end up picking up the 4th sword at their respective locations, Zora and the Peg Cave, they'll be finishing this seed with Tempered Sword silvers, so it's not going to hurt either of them. Gold, it won't really make a big difference.
All right, now the big question is daotmb, after checking the Pyramid Ledge, going to go over to Pod, or is going to continue on the same path as Gloin did to check the rest of the Overworld and not bother with the Pod dip without the bow?
I think he's going to do the Zora's Domain checks that Gloin did.
All right, well, that's going to mean that he's going to get his butter sword sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that will be a nice to have. Gloin, though, going directly into the Crystal Dungeon, and knowing what we know about Swamp, this is probably the right play.
Yeah, and since daotmb doesn't know where that Bombos medallion is, might head up to Tower of Hera after this, because it's the only completable dungeon he has with his information. And getting a crystal at this point when they haven't gotten any crystals will probably feel good.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was interesting is we saw the players check the pyramid, which is a bit off, knowing that they're going to have to do agate anyway later on.
I have a question for you, Tiru.
What are those?
Yes. What are those? Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't do the memes.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite ones. I remember the old YouTube video where that was actually a thing. It was internet gold at the time. But yes, we have boots, and we now can officially get that flute and get mire access. It might be completable. We don't know because we don't know what the medallion is. But if it is Bombos, mire is completable right now.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin that for you. I didn't think it through.
It's okay, man. No worries.
Yeah, so Aga now is an amazing play because that's going to unlock the flute, and that's going to unlock the mire and desert as well with that mirror.
Yeah, interesting thing right here. Gloin is opting to do the bomb jump, so it's going to do that routing instead of the normal cane routing. So I've seen a lot of opinion about which is better when you are gonna full clear it pretty much regardless, and I think it's really honestly based on personal preference.
I agree that it comes down to personal preference. Earlier in the Swiss rounds, I would debate this back and forth, and essentially the two schools of thought are, if you're going to do a full clear, you're going to get the keys anyway, so it's a little faster than falling down, then walking back up. At this point, though, I've seen too many seeds where people didn't do the bomb jump, they found their items early, and then they had to go look for the keys anyway. I'd say better safe than sorry. If you can do it consistently, just do it.
Gloin got a little bit trolled right there from the bomb placement. He didn't fall down the gap. He just, went diagonal.
Well, I think you called it, and we are seeing a Tower of Hera play.
Yep, and now having that mirror in tow, we can go up the fast way, which has got to feel really nice. I think one of the best things for Daotm at this point to kind of even the score with progression would probably be a bow up here. Because having those boots at this point when Graveyard Ledge is possibly not going to be on the table for Daotm for a while, needs something else to kind of even that score.
Well, Fire Rod would give him Ice Palace access, and we definitely know that he needs to get into Ice Palace because this is where the boots are, and that unlocks the flute. So Ice is the play. The bow would definitely be nice. That's going to let him full clear Palace of Darkness and Eastern in a single go with the mirror. We might even see him do Spike Cave coming out of here. It's a nice place to save and quit from, and you're going to be up here anyway.
Yeah, that's actually that's a good idea, honestly, and I would say that would be the most efficient routing at this point. Okay, well, Gloin finding a small key right there, so I believe we still have one item at large in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I only picked up on the boots. We got a compass in the chest on Tower of Hera, so we're still looking for both items in this dungeon.
Oh, Gloin having a little bit of problems with that block right there.
Yeah, I guess Gloin got all the other locations here because he's going to Cold Stare.
Yeah, I guess so. I missed what the third item was, but yeah, net was also found in here. That was what I thought was the second item. So we'll see how Cold Stare fight goes with Bombos and Tempered Sword. Should be pretty free and easy right here. Does have to be careful because still on green mail, so Cold Stare hurts and
yeah, only has 4 hearts.
Yeah, he's got a fairy, but doesn't. I don't know if you really want to burn a fairy at this point.
Well, it doesn't need to. It didn't even take a single hit. So just a small key there. So don't know where the... Is there an item left? Because our tracker said that there were the net and the boots.
I don't remember seeing a third item. There could still be one left, but I think gloin... I believe gloin counted correctly. We do have an item in the basement, though, of Hera. So Daotum is going to take his coffee break.
Yeah, and Gloin not wasting any time. Knows he has to do Aga eventually, and he's got more than enough gear at this point to get it done. Flute is going to make everything else after this much simpler to get around, so might as well do it.
Yeah, with tempered, that's going to make a lot of the rooms pretty simple, and you've got hook shot for some added safety if you wanted to use that as well. And you got the boomerang to grab the last key faster if you want to do that as well.
Yeah, one tempered sword spin to kill the chain guards versus 8 fighter sword slashes. Yeah, that's easier.
All right, we got the moment of truth here for Daotum. Is the Hera basement gonna pay off in this seed?
It so rarely does.
Oh, and there is our Turtle Rock access. That is Quake.
Oh, that is this is one of those rare times then, and that opens up the possibility that Gloin might skip that item. You might get the Tower of Hera Crystal. Say, I'm not going to go into the basement for just one item.
Yeah, that's the later and later you go on, the less and less Hera becomes more of a play, or the Hera basement, I should say, becomes more of a play. We'll see Spike Cave, what this holds for us today. Let's see if he gets the daily double.
So it'd be really interesting if Daotum chooses to go into Tower of Hera now. It's nice to find out early on if it's going to be a Fire Rod locked dungeon.
Is he going?
I think he's checking it.
Oh, baby.
You can get locked out really fast if it's, Fire Rod's not needed. The keys, can troll you, and you can get all the way to Laser Blades without the Fire Rod. But for all he knows, his Fire Rod progression and his access to ice is in here in Turtle Rock. Maybe we find the bow in the first chest. Also value.
It is definitely. I'd almost call this a gamble because this is quite a bit of a time sink for possibly only being able to check one chest if it's like a big key or a compass or something.
Well, he just made a gamble and got Quake, so maybe he's thinking like, all right, well, that gamble paid off, and that led me directly over here. I kind of gotta check it now. Following the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got Gloin starting off on the Aghanim fight right now. Let's see how many blue balls he gets in this fight.
Also say for Daotum, without the boots and bombos, he doesn't really have any great other place to go. I mean, he even did Swamp already.
Yeah, he's just got Skull Woods and the North Route, and yeah, I believe that's it. Well, we still haven't actually gone into Eastern yet, without the bow.
Well, we might see him do a Pod Eastern combo after this. I'm trying to find some progression in there. That seems more likely than checking Graveyard Ledge, which is just a one-off location at this point. He doesn't have the boots, can't route it in with anything else. It's already did Catfish, doesn't have the Fire Rod to do Skull Woods. It's not an appealing location based on his knowledge.
Yeah, very true. And Gloin takes down Aghanim right now. There were 3 blue balls in that second one, so that was kind of trolly.
And Datum picked up a key in the first chest and a shield in the second, so we're locked out of Turtle Rock now.
That is unfortunately a wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, well, if you want it to happen, you want it to happen quickly.
Oh man, Daotum is making some interesting plays, so is now heading over to the Pod Eastern area.
And there's no doubt on where Gloin's going. Boot lock spots, all 3 of them right over here.
Yeah, and let's see what it has. Just a big 20 in King's Tomb, and Daotum is doing the correct thing, having I guess is going this way in the Eastern, is not gonna take the mirror portal. That is an interesting choice.
I would have expected you to include Pod and Eastern together, just to give you more locations to check. But if Gloin's gonna have the flute at this point, has the only crystal so far, definitely has an item advantage and a knowledge advantage.
Yeah, and he still hasn't gone to the mire area yet, so we have no idea what that medallion still is. If we do need ether or bombos and quake is enough. Oh, because he's needs to activate the flute. I'm smart.
Yeah, he'll activate the flute, and from there I expect we'll probably see an immediate mire check. That tends to be kind of the standard play.
All right, and the second chest in Eastern is just the map. So, as far as where things are kind of going in this seed, we still don't know where this fire rod is. And we're going to have desert access and mire access, and that means that it could be in those places as well. So, normally the ice rod is the troll item, but fire rod's being a little bit of a nuisance right now.
Well, I think the worst place for the fire rod would be Left Side Swamp, because I can't imagine Datum going back there. I mean, Swamp was a gamble as it was, double dipping it. Gloin, you missed the duck.
I think Gloin for a second almost thought about jumping off to check the ledge item first. And it is Bombo, so ether is not required in the seed, and mire is fully completable for Gloin.
Interesting, and I can't see any reason why he won't immediately go in there. He's got everything he needs. That should be a pretty easy dungeon. Eastern, on the other hand, not giving any value to Datum. We're going to be leaving an item behind on the Armos Knights. So unless there's a vanilla bow coming up here, this was a big bust.
Yeah. No, it's just the compass. So Armos has the last item. Man, Daotum is just getting the runaround right now.
Yeah, Gloin has the ledge item he can check, 2 items in desert, 2 items in mire, the mire crystal, quite a bit of options over here. Daotum is, I don't know where Daotum is going.
Is he going back to Left Side Swamp?
That was my first thought, but that seems so unlikely. He's heading south, though.
Yeah, this looks like it. So after completing the dungeon a while ago, Daotum is double backing over here.
This is surprising. I would have expected a dip into Skull Woods and the those potential 2 items and maybe the graveyard ledge before coming back in here for, was it just 1 item at this point? We'll see when he opens his inventory.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of understand. It's like, all right, maybe thinking again. You know, I did get all those items for Swamp really early, and it was weird that I didn't get anything on the first time through. Maybe that last one could pay off.
Yeah, it's whenever there's an item like Bombos that opens up Ice Palace, and that just leads to your next thing, and you know, one person finds the progression, the other one doesn't. Seed can turn nasty very, very quickly. And hasn't changed his items yet. Gonna have to switch over to a hookshot or hammer so we can see if he has the map and the compass and the big key.
Yeah, Gloin had a little bit of trouble in that, you know, first major room of Mire right there, but gets through fine. Is heading back to the Broken Bridge chest, and we'll get to see was this Mire going to be a God Mire? So far, no, with the compass right there.
And daotmb is missing the big key and the compass. So we're going to get only 1 item left.
Yeah, the trolley thing would be like big key on the left and compass, and he has to come all the way back for that item.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get the item and the big key, and then he can just skip the chest, knowing that's the compass.
By the way, since we know where the boots are and everything like that, let's check the pedestal index. I believe Fire Rod can be there and Bow can be there.
That's correct. Both of those can be there, as well as the usual assortment of one-off fetch quest items. You know, shovel, mushroom powder. The chat loves to chain those together, but the bow can no longer be on ped because we have it.
Oh boy. Well, I guess it looks like Gloin is having a really solid route for the seed in general, the way that he's been progressing through with the Ice Palace play and now with the Mire play. I still will need that Quake medallion, and you have to worry a little bit for that because, again, that Hera basement is a skippable option for a lot of people. Oh
no. You're gonna have to backtrack 2 rooms to reset that. That's unfortunate. At least with half magic and the lamp, he's only losing a little bit of time. So you're right that missing that basement hair item is definitely a possibility, but it's probably not going to be a game ender for him. By the time he gets up there, he'll have cleared so many other locations. There won't be too many places for him to look. Fortunately, without Quake, he can't go in the Turtle Rock, so that's going to rule out the whole possibility of checking in Turtle Rock for Quake. Makes his search much simpler. Worst thing for him would be if he, goes into Swamp Palace. So far, though, that Graveyard Ledge Bombos has led to all of our subsequent items.
All right, well, there's our second item in Misery Mire right there with a piece of heart. So Gloin's going to head straight back to Vidi.
daotmb is heading into Palace of Darkness now. We know where the bow is, so the only thing of value left in the game would be the Fire Rod for him to find in here. That could lead him to ice, and that could get him to an alternate path of getting the boots and the flute. Still would have to get that Bombos eventually, though, for the Mire Crystal.
Did I didn't see when Daotum headed to Eastern Palace earlier. He turned in that green pen for something, right?
I didn't notice if he did or not. I think he just walked right to the entrance. Now that I think about it.
Chat saying it was an arrow upgrade. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Oh, that's actually our tracker Merc 249. Thank you very much, buddy.
We get to find that Palace of Darkness is not bow locked, at least not in the first chest.
Oh, are we gonna get a potion glitch from Daotum?
If he has a potion, I forget what they picked up. I know one was a fairy.
I got a blue pot.
Then this is a potion glitch. So at the minimum, he's going to get every item in this dungeon except for what's on Helmasaur. And I absolutely approve of this. If you're coming into this dungeon, you don't want to have to risk leaving anything behind, even if you have to sequence break.
Oh, no, he didn't do it properly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I think he was possibly a little too far to the left, too far to the right. Excuse me. I wasn't sure why that 100% didn't work, but that's a huge bummer.
Yeah, I think he went a little bit too far past the corner and didn't trigger it, or he jiggled back right for a second. You have to hit the bottle while you're moving left, and not tap right at all, even for a second, and then hug that wall. It's pretty easy once you practice it, but it's still possible to make a mistake. And only having one potion, kind of out of luck.
All right. Well, Gloin is following Daotum into pod right now with the bow, so can fully complete it, and we'll figure out what's on that bow lock side. There's the big key. So if this is a small key, Daotum can get to the back. All right.
All right, a little bit more Palace of Darkness left for Daotum. All right, there we go. Turning into that green pendant to Sasharala. We get to see what it is this time. But this is 2 crystals that Gloin can full clear, and 2 dungeons that Daotum is double dipping. Oh, Gloin forgot something.
Yeah, those mirror iframes, man, they get you. That's something you don't normally run into, because when are you like actually going to Sahasra's hut like this late for something? But yeah, that's kind of funny when it does happen.
That was the last thing they need to spend. That Gloin needs to spend money on, save for the potentially the purple bomb. And this will be his second red crystal. So Pyramid Fairy does open up after this, and it's kind of a nice place to route it in. Although I'm not sure if it's faster to walk out of here or just to restart at Link's house.
That's a great question. I believe Link's house might still be a little bit faster. Definitely without boots, it's faster. With boots, it's probably similar.
Yeah, and unless this these last 2 chests has a fire rod, Daotum, and he's running out of luck really quickly. Needs that Bombos medallion. Everything has been locked behind Bombos. Bombos led to boots, which led to flute, which gave him the Mire crystal. It had the bow.
All right, well, there's a sanctuary star for Daotum. This makes me think he's going to head over to the portal over in Kakariko and then head up to the north part in Skullwoods and whatnot. We do get to see what's on the bowlock side of Pod. So this will be new information for us. And if the fire rod is here, That means that Gloin is only that Quake medallion away from go mode.
Yeah, that would put us in no mode. What Datum really needs is for the fire rod to be incredibly hard to find and for him to stumble upon it. And I don't know how well those two are going to go together. There's the powder.
Well, that opens up another fetch quest location.
That will lead him to maybe hammer pegs, so he might get his last sword.
Yeah, that would be quite nice. And you can route on the purple chest. May get his blue mail from that, but we'll have to see on that one. But with the silver arrows, you just got stick Helmasaur King right in the gem with one arrow, and we'll be off to Eastern Palace afterward. Daotum is going through Skull Woods right now, is retracing all of Gloin's steps from way long ago, and we'll hopefully be heading over to Graveyard Ledge here very shortly to get that Bombos medallion.
Yeah, Skull Woods would have been a nice place to find the fire rod, but unfortunately we've already seen this from Gloin, and we know that it's not here. I'm thinking, I mean, it still could be on the pedestal, and we don't have the book, so we can't do a ped check. We haven't seen Desert Palace yet. That's one dungeon that we can still go into. I'm not trying to think of where else. Pyramid Fairy will be opened up for Gloin after this. It could be in there. It could be a magic bat.
Yeah, and we don't know what the Armos Snide item is. So yeah, I think that covers pretty much it.
Yeah, it's probably one or two other ones in there that we forgot, but we're narrowing it down now.
You're forgetting one important one though, good sir. You're forgetting the pedestal.
No. I said ped first.
Oh, you said ped first. Sorry, my bad.
I would not forget the pedestal. I was the one who wanted to do Aga when we got the lamp in Link's house. I wouldn't forget the pedestal.
Well, there's Gloin getting a second of the Pyramid Fairy crystals right there, and third crystal overall. And we'll be heading shortly over there, and Daotum is finally going to be getting that Bombos medallion.
Did Gloin leave some items in here? I guess he did Helma first before he did the back. Because I wasn't looking. So there's Bombos for Daotum. Really has no great place to go other than ice at the moment. Hopefully he decides to head over there.
All right, well, this is going to be good for Daotum here to get those boots in the first chest of Ice Palace. That'll probably be a bit of a sigh of relief for him.
I imagine he'll clear ice and then immediately follow Gloin's path because it's extremely linear at that point. You do Aga, you get the flute, you get the bow, you clear these two crystals. Really no decisions to be made for a long time. More interesting question is, where does Gloin go after completing Armos Nights?
For Daotum's sake, probably Swamp Palace. If Gloin goes the more optimal, just avoid Swamp Palace like the plague and goes elsewhere.
Well, Gloin might head up to Turtle Rock, and thinking that the fire rod can be in there, with that being, the one of only two crystals left, that would actually be a really good play. He does have Tower of Hera, so that's a full crystal he can clear. I wouldn't be surprised if he does what Daotum did, Hera, and then a check into Turtle Rock, and that would be good for Daotum if he loses a little bit of time in TR. You can go ahead and ask the question again if you want to. I know you want to.
What are those?
There we go.